Reported on erosion happening along the shore of Lake Superior, impacting one of Duluth's oldest cemeteries.
Northern News Now's Isabella Zadra was back there today learning about the history of the site and how years of wind and waves have impacted the land.
Lake Superior offers incredible views, great fishing, and sandy beaches. But it can also be brutal, with wind and waves tearing apart the shore. Nowhere is that more evident than Scandia Cemetery near Glensheen, where human remains have been unearthed by erosion.
County and city have been in touch with each other.
Duluth City Councilor Mike Mayo represents the part of town where Scandia sits. He says the erosion is a serious problem and one he and other city leaders are taking seriously.
I can't really speak to what solutions are being explored, but certainly there's really good conversation happening.
The cemetery dates back to the 1800s and is privately owned. While the city and county have no obligation under the law to maintain privately owned cemeteries, they say this is a serious situation that requires action.
Between all of these units that we're really not losing track and losing sight of the real human interest here, which is the folks that have been buried here and were meant to remain here.
In Duluth, Isabella Zadra, Northern News Now.
Isabella, thank you. St. Louis County fenced off certain areas around the cemetery that are affected by erosion, urging the public to stay away. A nonprofit currently owns Scandia Cemetery, but according to their attorney, its employees are in their 90s and they're unable to maintain the property.